The name Glutamed comes from the amino acid glutamine, which you get 4 grams of in each scoop of Glutamed, and then med meaning medicine. So Glutamed is medicine for our gut. Glutamed is a pharmaceutical-grade combination of the amino acids glutamine and glycine in an important 4:1 ratio. Glutamine is an amino acid that's used as an energy source by the cells that make up our intestinal barrier. So you can kind of think of this as a fence or just as a barrier. Now, the role of this barrier is to actually keep everything in our digestive system inside, because we have various pathogens and viruses here that we do not want to get out into the rest of our body. The problem is that sometimes we will develop cracks or leaks in this barrier. You've probably heard of this as leaky gut or gut permeability. Thus, the role of glutamine, or one of its major roles, because it has many benefits, is to actually fuel these cells that make up this barrier, which then actually allows them to fix this and tighten these gaps to seal that up and fix gut inflammation. If you want to use Glutamed for basic gut health support, we suggest using 1 to 2 scoops upon waking as well as before bed. Now, if you're someone who really trains intensely, you can add an additional serving post-workout. Now finally, if you want to get the benefits of Glutamed for cravings and hunger, you want to concentrate a dose at that time of day where you're most susceptible to this. So for most people, this would be later in the evening, and you would add about 2 to 4 scoops at this time to suppress cravings. Glutamed gives us meaningful amounts of the 2 amino acids, glutamine as well as glycine. Now, glutamine is an amino acid that we need more of as we undergo additional stress. And when we say stress, this could mean intense training, especially training multiple times a day. It could also include recovery from injury or even surgery. So these are times when your body will actually use up more glutamine. Now, in addition to this, we know that glutamine is very beneficial for alleviating gut inflammation and improving leaky gut or gut permeability. Glutamine is also an amino acid that the body will use to produce its own amino acids, and it's also an additional energy source. So it can be an energy source for not only the cells of our digestive tract, but interestingly, it can also replenish glycogen stores. Now, this is a pretty interesting mechanism if you think about it, because glutamine, although it's not a source, it's really not a sugar source, but it can still replenish that. And this is probably one of the reasons why supplementing with Glutamed and getting enough glutamine is a way to suppress cravings and hunger, because you are replenishing that glycogen, but you're not getting the added calories that you would otherwise. Now, glycine, on the other hand, this is another very cool amino acid. It's one that we probably don't get enough of from diet. And glycine actually helps the body to make its own creatine. It's also used to make one of your body's master antioxidants called glutathione. So we know that antioxidants are very beneficial. People know that it's good to consume them in their diet. However, many people don't realize that the body will actually make its own antioxidants, and these ones are also very important for overall health. So glycine is one that we need and the body uses to then make its own antioxidants. Now, in addition to this, glycine has a number of other very important benefits. It's good for gut health as well, alongside glutamine. It alleviates inflammation. And as we know, it also has some naturally calming effects because it acts as an inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain. So Glutamed is a great tool for anyone who has issues with gut health. Now, this could include anything from diarrhea to indigestion or pain after meals, but it also includes some specific scenarios such as Crohn's or even stomach ulcers, because the research is very clear on this, that getting additional glutamine in at these times can support these illnesses. Glutamine can also be a really good tool for athletes who train multiple times per day. Now, one of the reasons being is because when we train very intensely for long hours, especially several times per day, we do accumulate really high levels of inflammation and oxidative stress. And this is just a result of breaking down muscle, creating tons of energy, and just because of the stress that this places on our body. Now at these times, we know that the body's demand for glutamine goes up, and so getting that extra glutamine by supplementing Glutamed is a great way to support your recovery from training. Now, one of the best or maybe most extreme examples of this is actually when we look at the effects of glutamine in marathon runners. So this is very interesting. When you look at markers of gut health in marathon runners after a race, they actually have markers of some pretty severe gut damage. And oftentimes this is correlated with diarrhea and just pain in the digestive system. Now, why is this? Well, it's just because that marathon was so long, so intense, and it actually did some damage to the body. Now, the cool thing to this and where glutamine and Glutamed come in is that if you preload these runners with really high amounts of glutamine before the race, it actually alleviates this post-race discomfort and supports recovery. So Glutamed, really great for athletes or anybody who has some gut issues. Glutamed is made from fermented and vegan Adjupure amino acids, and this means that it's really usable by anyone and is very easy for digestion.